Let's talk about the spirit of Samhain and how this time of year is perfect for opening up the spiritual realm and connecting with your ancestors. I'm also going to include 6 ways where you can celebrate Samhain as a witch, as well as sprinkle in a little bit of an ancestral invocation spell, so be sure to check it out and watch the whole video. Welcome to the season of Anya, where together we are building a wonderful spiritual community where we are merging yoga, magic, and witchcraft. The Samhain festival was very popular among Celts, for they are known for following the lunar cycle. During this time of year, they acknowledged and embraced that the veil between the spiritual realm and the human, earthly realm was at its thinnest. Samhain also marked a changing of seasons. The Celts celebrated Samhain on October 31st at sunset, and the festival lasted all the way through November 1st, ending at sunset. Samhain was also a pivotal moment for marking roughly the halfway point between the fall equinox and the winter solstice. So with that said, how can we connect with the spirit of Samhain during this time of year? First way where you can celebrate Samhain as a witch and connect to your ancestors is by visiting the family graveyard. Collect some of the dirt from your family grave site. Very important, do not be collecting graveyard dirt from strangers. Also, as you're visiting your family graveyard or the graveyard of a departed loved one, go ahead and take the time to make the space a little cleaner, a little nicer, right? Bring some flowers and take some time to maybe wipe some dust and debris off the space. Then, when you're there, you can go ahead and relax for a little bit and just invite their energy in. You don't need a whole ritual, although if you want to, you can do one, although it's gonna draw some attention to you. But just sitting there in that spirit, maybe taking a walk and admiring the grounds, just while saying, hey, I'm here, I've missed you, is enough. Another great way to connect with spirit is by simply asking spirit, your ancestors, or a loved one, maybe some advice on how to navigate something in life that is really eating you up. Do you need some clarity? Do you need some guidance? These are all great ways to connect with your departed at a graveyard. If you do want a great book that kind of goes over the do's and don'ts of collecting graveyard dirt, a lot of nuances of collecting graveyard dirt, and also just an overall great spiritual read from a witch, check out the book Conjuring Dirt. It's from my mentor and dear friend, Taryn S. I will go ahead and link that book down here in the description. It is a wonderful, wonderful read. Tip number 2, connect with your ancestral magic. What this means is connecting with the spirit of your ancestors by maybe making a favorite dish among family. Some of our recipes handed down to us, especially from certain cultures like Italian and Hispanic cultures, just to name a couple, cooking is our love language. Bust out that recipe book, make a dish, and if you're trying to honor a loved one in particular, make their favorite recipe. Maybe even try to make it better. But don't piss them off too much by doing that. Another way you can connect with ancestral magic of the dearly departed is maybe start wearing a favorite jewelry piece of theirs, a watch that was handed down to you or that they gave to you, a ring, jewelry. If you don't have any of that, maybe a lipstick color that reminds you of your grandma, or a cologne that your grandpa always used to wear, or whoever. If you're gonna connect with these ancestral energies, I'd recommend giving it about a full lunar cycle, so about 28 days. That way you're really actively engaging with the spirit of the departed. Even when you're connecting with that sacred item, put it on mindfully. Maybe every time you put it on, try to remember a story of theirs, or just have a conversation. Tip number 3, create a Samhain altar. If you can, try to keep a light, ideally a candle, if you can safely do so, or some LED lights, something lit and illuminated on your altar as a symbolic gesture of opening up the portal and connecting to that spirit and inviting them in. I have a whole video on my YouTube channel, yeah, right here, that's gonna give a whole Samhain altar breakdown, so I'm not gonna go too much into the details on this one. I'm also gonna show you my personal altar as well for this time of year. So be sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, as promised, here is the ancestral invocation. It's super simple, I promise. Ancestors and spirits of the past, I ask for eternal wisdom that will last. I seek your guidance of a millennia. Together in spirit, we always stand. Holy guardians of the land, blessed be. This can be something you merely recite on October 31st or any time of year you're trying to invite that ancestral spirit in. You could have a whole ceremony or a whole Samhain ritual planned out where you invite each of your ancestors' energy, name by name, into this working. Add your own personal twist to it so it makes sense and resonates with you. Tip number 4, reflect on life and death. Tip number 4, reflect on life and death. With the spirit of us being in this dark half of the year, use your ancestors, maybe your parents, your grandparents, whomever, your friends, use their stories as inspiration and maybe as a warning. That aside, now's just a good time to reflect and go inward. What are you doing to maybe set yourself up for success? How can you live a more fulfilled and magical life? We're so blessed to be living this life, but also with that comes obstacles and challenges. In light with kind of the dark energy that we are working with this time of year, the end is not really fun. If we're lucky, we even make it to the end. The end meaning, you know, that ripe age of 80 to 90 to even 100. Even with circumstances being less than stellar, we have to make do with what we got. There's no other choice. Take care of your health, take care of your mental health, and keep pushing forward and persevere. Tip number 5, revisit those old stories and tell them to someone. If you have no one to tell them to, write them down. A lot of times we forget the details, and that's what makes those stories so enriching and so fun. Whether it's one of those stories of back in my day, or it's one of those stories of a memory you and your departed shared. Share them with others. If you have some family nearby, go around the table and have a toast with them and celebrate the life that they lived. And finally, tip number 6, connect with them through divination. Maybe they have a message for you. Bust out your oracle cards, bust out your tarot cards, and as you're shuffling, as you're putting that energy in there, ask them some questions. Invite that energy in and receive the love, receive the inspiration, and receive that divine guidance. So, inquiring minds want to know, how do you celebrate Samhain? How do you like to personally connect with your ancestors? Inquiring minds want to know. Go ahead and drop a comment and share with the community. That's how we learn and that's how we grow. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to the Season of Anya. So much love and gratitude to you all on this journey. I will catch you on the next one.